You know what nobody tells you about marriage: it doesn't end when the papers are signed. It ends long before that. Quietly, invisibly, inside the mind of someone who stops showing up. One day, you wake up next to the same person, but something feels different. The silence is louder, the smiles are shorter, the warmth is still there, but it's been replaced by duty. You think it's just a phase. Everyone says that. Marriage has seasons. Right, but no one warns you about the season that never ends, the one where love turns into management. And intimacy becomes routine. It doesn't fall apart in one big explosion. It fades in 100 small moments. The unreturned touch, the delayed text, the polite laughter that hides fatigue, the way you both start avoiding eye contact at dinner. Not because you're angry, but because you both know something's missing and neither of you wants to say it. That's how it happens. Not with betrayal, but with boredom. Not with shouting, but with silence. You tell yourself you're keeping the peace. You swallow words to avoid another argument. You walk on eggshells hoping it will get better. But peace built on silence isn't peace. It's paralysis. And the strange thing is, no one will notice it happening. Not your friends, not your family. Because from the outside, you both look fine, smiling in photos, posting anniversaries, saying we're just busy. But the truth is, you've both stopped being in love. You've just gotten good at performing it. She used to look at you like you were her world. Now she looks through you. As if she's staring at a stranger, she vaguely remembers loving. You used to make her laugh. Now she scrolls through her phone at the dinner table, laughing at something you'll never see. She used to need you. Now she only notices you when something's wrong. And you start to change too. You start working later. You stay out longer. You tell yourself it's about the job. But deep down, you just want to avoid the silence waiting at home. You start wondering, is this what forever is supposed to feel like? Is this what they meant by for better or worse? Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. Hate still cares. Hate still has passion. Indifference is colder. It's emptiness disguised as calm. That's how marriages do not in fights, but in quiet acceptance. When two people stop arguing, not because they've found peace, but because they've stopped trying. You think maybe time will fix it. You hope a vacation will bring you closer again. You plan anniversaries like resuscitations. But deep down, you already know the truth. Time doesn't heal what silence corrodes. One night, she looks at you across the couch. No words. Just a look that says she's already gone. You can feel it. Her body's still here, but her heart has left the room. And that's when you realize, marriage doesn't end when she leaves. It ends when she stops showing up while she's still there. You start noticing her talking about space, about finding herself. At first, you laugh it off. You think it's just a phase. But then she starts dressing differently, acting differently, smiling differently. Not for you, for herself, or maybe for someone else. And you sit there trying to figure out when it all started slipping. Was it that first missed date night, that fight that never really ended, that apology you made just to keep the peace you can't even tell anymore? It didn't happen one day. It happened every day, slowly, quietly, until one morning you wake up and realize you're sleeping next to someone you no longer recognize. And yet, you still love her. You still want it to work, because you remember who she used to be. You remember what you both were. But here's what hurts the most. You can't fix what she no longer wants to repair. You can't convince someone to care again. You can't love hard enough to make her stay. You start saying things like, I'll change, I'll do better. But love isn't a contract. It's a choice, and she's already made hers. When she finally leaves, you won't even be angry. You'll just feel empty. Because by the time she walks out, you've already lost her 1,000 times before. That's the slow death no one talks about. The one that happens inside the walls of a quiet house. The one you can't explain to anyone because from the outside, you had everything. And maybe you did, but somewhere between the bills, the routines, and the silence. You stopped being partners and became roommates. That's the first truth about marriage. It doesn't end with divorce papers. It ends with silence, the kind that looks peaceful, but feels like grief. When she leaves, it doesn't happen in one moment. It starts long before the bags are packed. In her mind, she's already gone. She's been preparing for months, quietly building her exit behind small smiles and half-hearted hugs. She tells herself she's doing the right thing, that she needs to find herself, that she's not running away, just moving forward. She believes freedom will fix what love couldn't. At first, she feels alive. The house feels lighter, no arguments, no tension, no expectations. Her friends tell her she's brave. Social media tells her she's glowing. The world cheers her on like she's just escaped a cage. And maybe for a while. She believes that too. There's power in novelty. There's thrill in being wanted again. She feels young, seen, validated in a way she hasn't in years. She takes trips, changes her hair, buys new clothes. She laughs louder now, but it's not joy. It's relief. Relief from responsibility. Relief from reflection. But here's the part no one talks about. Freedom without direction always turns into chaos, because eventually, the high fades. The nights get longer. The phone gets quieter. The attention she once found flattering becomes shallow, and the silence she once craved starts to echo. She thought she was running toward happiness, but really, she was just running from accountability. You can't find yourself in places you go to escape yourself. At first, she blames men, says they're all the same, too distant, too shallow, too unavailable. But deep down, she knows it's not them. It's the emptiness that follows her everywhere. See, in marriage, she traded freedom for security. Now she's traded security for attention, and attention doesn't last. It fades the moment someone new walks by. What she thought was liberation is just distraction in disguise. And the cruelest part, no one will tell her the truth. Her friends will keep saying, "You look amazing." Her followers will keep liking her posts. But at night, when the phone screen goes dark, she feels it, the quiet ache that comes when the illusion starts to crumble. She'll think about the man she left, not with love at first, but with curiosity. She'll wonder what he's doing, if he's moved on, if he ever really cared. And she'll remember the things she once mocked him for: his consistency, his patience, his calm. Now those same traits feel like peace, but she can't admit that yet. So she doubles down on freedom. She goes out more. She fills her days with noise, because silence has started to feel dangerous. Silence is where the truth lives, and the truth is starting to whisper. She starts comparing. Not on purpose, it just happens. The new men she meets don't listen the same. They don't know her history. They don't care about her moods. They don't remember her favorite coffee or how she takes her tea. They just see her. Not the woman she's been, only the image she projects. That's when she starts to realize something. She didn't leave because you weren't enough. She left because she thought she deserved more. But now she sees more isn't always better, because more often means chaos. More often means emptiness dressed up as adventure. More often means losing the very things she once prayed for. She used to crave stability. Now she's addicted to distraction. And deep down, she knows it. There's a moment every divorced woman feels it, when she looks around and realizes she has everything she wanted, but nothing she needs. The parties, the travel, the attention, none of it fills the silence. Because what she's missing isn't excitement. It's safety. It's the feeling of being known, not just noticed. And while she's busy searching for something new, you're quietly rebuilding. You're not angry anymore. You're not waiting for her to come back. You've accepted what she gave you: closure. You stopped asking why, because you finally understand that why doesn't matter. Some people don't leave because they're unhappy. They leave because they don't know how to stay. And once you understand that, the pain changes shape. It doesn't disappear. It just becomes quieter, like a memory that stopped bleeding. You don't want revenge. You want peace. You don't want her back. You just want to understand how something that felt so right could end so wrong. And then, slowly, you start to see it. Marriage didn't fail because of one mistake. It failed because neither of you learned how to grow together. She wanted adventure. You wanted consistency. She chased novelty. You chased peace. And in the end, you both got what you were seeking, just not the way you expected. That's the hidden truth behind freedom. It always costs something. For her, it was safety. For you, it was certainty. She got what she asked for, but not what she wanted. And maybe that's how it was always meant to be. Because sometimes, losing what you thought was forever is how you finally learn what real peace feels like. Time passes. Months. Maybe years. And somewhere between freedom and fatigue, she starts to see it. Not all at once, but slowly, in quiet moments when no one is watching. The same freedom that once felt intoxicating now feels heavy. The nights are longer. The laughter forced. The silence louder than she remembers. She scrolls through old photos, not to relive the past, but to understand it. She looks at the man she left, the man who used to make her coffee, fix the sink, and hold her when she cried. And she realizes something she couldn't see before. You weren't perfect, but you were real. And real is something she doesn't find anymore. The men she meets now talk in circles. They want her body, not her soul. They crave excitement, not connection. They see her as a phase, not a partner. She once believed leaving you would bring her clarity. Instead, it brought her mirrors, each one showing her a reflection she no longer recognizes. She used to think you were the reason she felt trapped. Now she sees that the cage was never you. It was her restlessness, her need to feel constant motion. She realizes that you weren't holding her back. You were grounding her. And that's the moment when regret begins. Not the kind that cries or begs, the quiet kind. The kind that hides behind pride. She'll never tell you this, but deep down she knows you didn't lose her. She lost you. She lost the man who saw her when no one else did. The man who built a home around her storms. The man who stayed when it was easier to leave. But by the time she understands that, you're not there anymore. Not physically, not emotionally, not spiritually, because you've already rebuilt yourself. You've stopped chasing closure. You've stopped rehearsing what you could have said. You've accepted the truth you can't fix someone who doesn't want to be found. And once that truth settles in, the anger fades. The sadness softens. You begin to see it for what it really was. Not betrayal. Not injustice. Just the natural unraveling of two people moving in different directions. You stop needing her to regret it. You stop waiting for the apology that will never come. Because peace isn't found in her remorse. It's found in your release. You start waking up lighter. You start laughing again. You rediscover small things, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of your own silence. You no longer fear being alone, because alone no longer feels empty. It feels honest. You realize that love, at its core, isn't about forever. It's about growth. And sometimes growth means letting go before the rot spreads. That's the part most people never understand. They think healing means forgetting. But healing means remembering without bitterness. You remember her smile, her laugh, her flaws, her warmth. But you remember them as lessons now, not losses. You don't hate her. You don't wish her pain. You simply understand her now, and that understanding is the closure. Because the truth is, marriage doesn't end with divorce. It ends with the moment you both stop choosing each other. And once that choice is gone, the rest is just paperwork. She'll keep searching for the version of love that doesn't exist, the kind that never gets boring, never disappoints, never demands accountability. And you'll keep building the kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone. That's the difference between illusion and awareness. Illusion needs constant validation. Awareness just breathes. One day, you might see her again, at a grocery store, at a wedding, or maybe on social media. She'll look happy. Maybe she is. But you'll notice something in her eyes, a quiet sadness. The kind that belongs to someone who's seen the truth but can't undo it. You'll smile, not out of pride, but out of peace, because you finally understand you didn't lose her. You simply finished your chapter in her story, and she finished hers in yours. There's no villain, no victim, just two people who didn't know how to stay once the illusions fell apart. And that's the hidden truth behind marriage. It's not about happiness, it's about endurance. The ability to grow without growing apart. The strength to stay honest when comfort begs you to lie. Most marriages fail not because love dies, but because honesty does. You can live without passion, you can live without perfection, but you can't live without truth. So if you're standing in the ashes of something that once felt like forever, don't curse it. Thank it, because it taught you what love isn't, so you can finally understand what peace is. Sometimes, letting her go isn't about losing her. It's about finding yourself again. And once you find yourself, you'll realize something profound. You never needed to be loved to be whole. You just needed to be honest. That's the end of it. Not bitter, not broken, just wiser, calmer, free, because she got what she asked for. But you got what you needed. And that, my friend, is how the story truly ends.